Happy New Year and welcome into another winter edition of Sports Den. Matt Dean welcoming you into our North Metro TV studio here in Blaine, Minnesota. As the temperatures are dropping here in the state, some of our North Metro area teams are starting to heat up as we welcome you into our first 2025 episode of Sports Den. We'll take you all through the highlights, 2 games of girls hockey as our coverage started back up on North Metro TV of high school sports last week. We'll take a peek at the boys hockey standings and schedules and to get you all caught up on all the basketball action as we move to the hardwood. We'll also close the show with highlights of our North Metro broadcast last week of a cat clash in the pool as Spring Lake Park hosted Centennial in boys swimming and diving. Well, headlining the show, we said we'll start with girls hockey. We'll start with the third-ranked team in the state in Class AA. That's the Centennial SLP Cougars, who are coming off back-to-back losses, believe it or not, after a 14-0 start to the season. This from last Tuesday as they hosted Elk River. 8th grader Josie Kelsenberg, she doesn't even go here. That's a middle schooler scoring her third of the season, and then less than 2 minutes later, clean up on aisle 3, straight filth from the St. Thomas commit. 17th goal in 17 games for Tegan Kuhlenkamp. CSLP weren't done. Kuhlenkamp with a behind-the-cage feed to sophomore Maddie Walter. A tip to make it 3-0 Cougars before the break. But the Elks go on the power play, and senior Cassie Balaban all the way gone. Second goal of the season, unassisted on the power play. It's a 2-goal game at the intermission. Cougars go on the power play. Ella Perot, the junior, with her 8th of the year. Good screen in front by the Cougars. It's back to a 3-goal lead less than 3 minutes in. How about that move from Grace Lager, folks? A video game dangle for an unassisted goal at 13:09, 5-1 after the sophomore's 9th. Mia Such with a nice backside pass there to set up Perot for her second of the game. It was 6-1 at the end of 2. Kuhlenkamp with a zone entry and the dish to Such. 7-1 the final score as the Cougars went 2 for 3 on the power play. So Centennial asserting their dominance as they score 7 or more goals for the 6th time this season. They're a top 10 scoring offense in Class AA, averaging just south of 5 goals per game. You saw Tegan Kuhlenkamp with a goal and 2 assists, her 4th game this season for the St. Thomas commit with 3 or more points in a game. She has 30, over 30 now on the season, leading Centennial SLP in scoring. It was the first 3-point game of the year for Mia Such. On that end, Celia DeWandler, the junior, makes her first start since mid-December and stops 17 of 18. That's the backup goalie for Centennial, who's 5-0 with a .4 goals against average and a save percentage north of .960. So 2 really good goaltenders with great numbers right now for the Cougars. Had back-to-back losses, but they get one back in the win column. Their 15th victory of the season and dominating with over 50 shots on target against the Elks. So while Centennial were in action on Tuesday night, Blaine, our other area school in girls hockey, were hosting Anoka in a conference clash at Fogarty Arena. The Bengals trying to extend a 6-game unbeaten run as they host the Anoka Tornadoes in this battle here between the Tornadoes and the Bengals. Tornadoes with numbers off the rush early. Junior Caden Larson gets a paddle in there to break up the cross crease pass and keep us scoreless. 4 minutes left in the first. Sophomore Emmy Lewis, some pressure on the forecheck. Anoka turns it over. Looky, I got a cookie. Aubrey Caven, the sophomore's second of the year, opens the scoring for Blaine. Number 22, Reagan Reinholtz off the rush again for Anoka. Caden Larson says, you already tried that, and she makes another stop. Abby Costa drops it off the wall here for the captain. CC Ledeen follows her own rebound and makes it 2-0, 1:02 into the second. Still in the second, Caitlin Buck rifles one. How about that tip shot out of midair, but there's no beating Larson. 2-0 Bengals at the end of 2, and then Coley Johnson finding Grayson Knowles for good measure. It ends a 3-0 shutout win for Blaine. So the Bengals, with that victory, 7 games unbeaten now in a row. That has them with a 5-2 record and sitting at third in the Northwest Suburban Conference right now. Centennial Spring Lake Park, as we said, ranked number 3 in the state. Both of their losses when they had back-to-back straddled on both ends of the new year, have come out of conference this season. They're an unblemished 9-0 in the Northwest Suburban. Surprised to see Maple Grove down in 5th after they battled and beat Centennial, remember, in the section title game last year. So moving ahead to what's coming up for our schools, the Blaine Bengals on their schedule, they play tomorrow at Robbinsdale Armstrong Cooper at the New Hope Ice Arena. Then on Thursday, Blaine will try to finish off a sweep of Rogers this season, a 3-0 win for Blaine over the Royals at their barn back in December. Turning our attention to Centennial SLP, tomorrow they are hosting second place Champlain Park Coon Rapids. The Cougs beat the Bluebirds 7-2 in the first meeting of the season back in November. They've got Crookston, Armstrong Cooper, and then at North Wright County, a section opponent the Cougars beat in the playoffs last year before rivals Blaine clash with the Cougars in a Cat Clash at the end of the month. Moving on to boys hockey, here's how the Northwest Suburban Conference standings look. Blaine have been maybe the story in the conference so far this year, a marked turnaround from just a 6-win campaign a year ago. Right now, the Bengals, a good record in conference at 4-1. They have only played one team right now ahead of them in the standings. That was Maple Grove, who they lost very respectably to 0-2 just a couple of weeks ago. SLP CR 7-8 overall in the first year of the co-op. They've lost their last 2 in the conference right before the new year. Centennial down in 11th, struggling after losing a lot of seniors from a state tournament team a year ago. They've dropped 7 straight, 6 of which have come in conference play. Their only NWSC victory so far at Osseo in December. Moving on to the schedules for our teams. Blaine tomorrow taking on Eastridge at home. The Bengals in the midst of 6 straight games they're playing at home at Fogarty Arena. They've won 4 of the last 6 and 6 of the last 9. As we said, only 6 wins for Blaine last year. Already have 9 on the season. Centennial are looking to break a 7-game losing skid. Tuesday they'll be at 9th-ranked Stillwater. The Ponies 9-2 this year. The next 5 after that will be against the conference for the Cougars. Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids, a 3-game winning streak for them was snapped on Saturday at Rockridge. They have a big matchup in the Battle for Fogarty Arena on Thursday against Blaine, a game you can watch right here on North Metro TV with Bill Huff on the call. Heading to the hardwood, we'll start with boys basketball, where we look at the schedules for our area schools. Blaine haven't won back-to-back games yet this season. They have a chance to knock off Rogers tonight at home. The Royals 2-3 so far in Northwest Suburban. There'll be a Wednesday Cat Clash at SLP for Blaine on the boys' side that we'll be broadcasting on North Metro. Centennial have dropped 4 straight games. That was following a 6-1 start to the season under head coach Spencer Waldvogel. They'll look to get back on track against Park Center tonight. Weird to see the Pirates struggling. They're just 5-7 after a state tournament appearance last year, and the Pirates were state runners-up as recently as 2 years ago. Spring Lake Park, they're on the best run right now for all of our schools. 4-game winning streak that they had snapped by 9th-ranked Anoka on Thursday. They're 8-4 overall. They'll be taking on a 1-11 Armstrong on the road tonight ahead of that Cat Clash with Blaine on Wednesday. Here's the standings for boys hoops in the conference. Totino Grace, the 3-time defending champions in Class 3A, are undefeated, as are Maple Grove, both with 3-0 records right now in the mix. Anoka, Champlain Park are both ranked 8th and 9th, respectively, in Class 4A. Some teams to watch as we're still early in this conference schedule. Spring Lake Park, the only team to have played 6 conference games and out to a nice start at 4-2 under Oliver Major. Blaine and Centennial have combined for 5 conference wins to this point. On the girls' side, sticking with basketball, Centennial out to the best start of our North Metro TV area schools. They snapped a 4-game skid with a win on Thursday against Osseo. They are at Park Center and hosting Rogers this week. Blaine are at Rogers tonight. If they win that, they'll be going for their 5th consecutive conference victory as they host Spring Lake Park on Wednesday on North Metro TV. SLP, in the meantime, hosting Armstrong tonight before Wednesday's North Metro TV Cat Clash that you can take in right here. Here's how the standings set in the Northwest Suburban for girls hoops. Centennial out to that 5-1 start in conference play, jockeying with Andover just behind Anoka, who lead the league right now. Blaine not far behind at 5-3 in league play. Spring Lake Park beat Rogers to open up the new year in what is their lone conference win of the season so far under a brand new head coach and with a lot of young players. So hockey in full force, basketball, we're going to be having girls hockey section playoffs, believe it or not, coming up in just a few short weeks. As we told you at the top, our first Sports Den episode of 2025. We're going to close things out in the pool as we take you to a cat clash in boys swimming and diving. Spring Lake Park hosting Centennial in that matchup on Thursday. In the 200 medley relay to start the day, Centennial grabbed the top 2 spots. We head to the diving break where Spring Lake Park 8th grader Carter Nicholson with the back dive there. Centennial freshman Blake Thorson, a somersault in the twist. He won the event. Centennial freshman Eliza Manthe with a reverse dive finished 3rd. SLP 9th grader David Mueller with a 1.5 somersault finished 2nd to close out the day on that diving break. In the 100-yard butterfly, Caleb Cregan, a senior, was one of 3 Cougars finishing on the podium. In the 100-yard free, it was Murray claiming his 2nd individual event after he won the 50 earlier in the day. 500-yard freestyle win with his 2nd win in an individual event for the Cougars in that one. The 200-yard freestyle relay saw Murray anchor the Centennial Cougars to the victory in that one. In the 100-yard backstroke, Vinny Thurnberg, a sophomore, won it for Spring Lake Park. On the 100 breaststroke, Patrick Ketz, a freshman for the Panthers, made it back-to-back victories for Spring Lake Park, and the Panthers would close out the meet with a 400-yard free relay win. Sophomore Bryce Tokel closed it out. Centennial, though, would take the meet 100-74. Take a look at our upcoming schedule here on North Metro TV. Our coverage continues on Wednesday. We have got both legs of that girls-boys doubleheader. Our truck will be out in Spring Lake Park for the girls' side of that Blaine SLP matchup. Myself and Blythe Whaley will be on the call for that one. Coverage starting at 6:55. We'll also have the single camera shoot going on as the boys match up at Blaine High School. On Thursday, you can hear the dulcet tones of Bill Hupp as he will be calling the battle for Fogarty Arena, Blaine and Spring Lake Park, Coon Rapids. I know they've got kind of 2 home barns right now as SLP plays some of their home games at the Coon Rapids ice rink, but SLP still wants to claim their turf as they take on Blaine. It's the first time Blaine and SLP are matching up with the Panthers, part of that now Coon Rapids co-op. And we'll have more basketball coverage and swimming down the line and coming up down the pipe next week on North Metro TV. That's going to do it for our show. I'm Matt Dean signing out here from our studio in Blaine. Thanks to our director, Charles Brolin, Ted LaRue, and Rand Thill, our great crew here in Blaine tonight. We'll talk to you on Wednesday night for some girls and boys basketball action. Hockey on Thursday. We'll be back next week to break it all down right here in studio on Sports Den.